JavaScript concepts. So, what are, this is basically to start some of the JavaScript concepts, which is the prerequisite to learning React. So, first one is the let and const. The major difference between let and const is like previously there was just one variable. We used to declare a variable using the keyword var, right? So with the introduction of ES5, ES6, there were these two terms introduced, that is let and const. Let is basically it is the identifier for variable values, whereas const is for constant values. Whenever you declare a variable using let, you can reassign the values to that variable. But in case you declare a variable using const, you won't be able to declare or redeclare the values. Once declared, it is constant. Next is the arrow function. Regarding arrow function is another way of writing functions. Like if you can see here, the function name, circle parameter, round parameters, and round pieces, and this. In this case, the issue which was there was the with respect to this keyword. The context of this in ES5, this is to change every time, right? So for that, in order to overcome that, the ES6 arrow function, whenever we write functions using ES6, this keyword context is kept, okay, it is maintained. For example, the context of this keyword is equal for the function itself, right? So that is a major difference. So ES6 brought this major change. This keyword in ES6 arrow function otherwise is maintained. Other ways to write arrow functions, like if we have function with no arguments, right? So we write it basically const function name equal to empty brackets is equal to definition. In case we have one argument, we have one single argument, right? So we can replace the brackets and simply write the argument name. It will also work. But in case there are two arguments, right? So in that case, you won't be able to write argument from argument. No. For that, we have to use the round brackets. And let's say we have a return statement. That means inside the whole curly braces, there is just one return statement there. So in that case, we can ignore or we can eliminate the return keyword and the curly braces. We can simply write the return logic here follow which follows the arrow. Okay. That is one thing. And one argument then simply returns, right? So this is one way that const function is equal to a single argument arrow of the return logic. Okay. Next is the export import, that is our modules. Inside a GS file, with JavaScript file, we can import context from other files. Like for example, modules was a major modules is something which is really a concept in JavaScript where that every piece of code is can be categorized into modules. It can be distributed into modules, and that is how in React components are formed. Right? Every component has its own context. So there's and it's written separately. Those modularization of code started is such. So in that case, so for that we need to import and export the code blocks, right? So let's say we have a person.js file which contains this const person object, and the exports a default const default export. Export default person means it's exported by default. Utility.js is another function wherein we export two different things. First one is a clean function, and base data is a parameter, or we can say property. Okay, this is a function. This is a property. So property based data which values to 10, and constant clean function which is empty function. It can be anything. Uh, if you notice the difference here, there is only one thing person, and it's written as export default. Whereas in utility, you have given these name export constant clean and export constant base data. Okay. So in order to import this, both of them have different ways to import. For example, or for instance, uh, for default export, we can import it like import person from person.js आणि import PRS मध्ये काय होईल की no. What happens here is import PRS is like you can rename it in any way, like if you want, right? Like for example, here the file name is one way of denoting it, but then you can also rename that. Here in the second part, right? Import PRS from person.js. So it yeah. And the second one is the named exports. In named export, what happens here is whatever names which you have given, right? So those names are imported. For example, import something from utilities. Now here I don't have anything something, right? So it won't come as something. But yeah, I should have written here import clean from utilities or import clean as something from utilities. And in case I want to import everything, I can write import star from utilities. And else I can also write import star as bundle from utilities. Okay. Next is classes. Classes are the blueprints for the objects created with the class keyword. Basically, class are two things. First is the properties, and second is the method. Properties are basically the variables. Methods are basically the functions. So let's take this example. Class person, it has a property and it has a method named as call. Uh, how is the usage? We write the const my person equal to a new. New is a keyword which is used to instantiate a class new person, and we call that class. Now this person, my person, can use this method, right? So how will I use it? My person dot call, and since it's a method, I'm calling it. And console.log my person dot name. Since it's not a function, I would simply use it that name. Next is the inheritance. What happens in inheritance is basically we can inherit some of the properties from the parent class. Like for example, let's say I have a master. For example, is class person is let's say there is something name as person. Okay. Now here we have class person. Okay. Yeah. For inheriting, the child class should always okay. Before the inheritance, let me first explain the constructor. Right? Constructor is basically a default function which is executed every time a object is instantiated. Okay. So class person, let's say in that I have instantiated this dot name as max, and there is this function. And this is the way to do this. Now if we want to extend it, right? So let's say I have class human. I have a constructor, this dot species, Homo sapiens, then sapiens console log this dot species. And inside this, I will do that. Now here, last person extends human. Now here, what change will be there? What will be changing here is basically inside this constructor, I'll have to use the word. I will have to use uh, super keyword. Super keyword is basically telling that import all the constructor from the parent class as well. That is how it works. Next is class properties and variable properties are like variables attached to classes. ES5, we write it like this: constructor, result property equal to value, and ES5 methods are written and my method bracket and this. For ES6, we can simply write my property equal to value, ES6 my method equal to arrow function. We get rid of constructor in ES6. Spread and rest operator. Spread is used to split up array arguments or object properties. Like for example, const new array, and we use three dots spread operator. The old array 1 2. Now new object, old object comma new properties. Here the preference for new properties is higher. Like for example, if in my old object I already have a key given as new property with the value 5 with the value 3, let's say. So after after this statement, it will get. value 5 until we overwritten. The rest is the operator used to merge the list of function arguments into an array. So let's say it's working as like the function sort array, and these arguments, right? Let's say there are 10 arguments coming. So in order to write that function, uses rest, and then resulting will be an array of these arguments. Yeah. This is an example of rest operator or spread operator. Const number, it's an array of three. Constant number, it's will be spreading it at numbers, comma 4, comma 5. So this is how spread operators works. The result will be this. In case I do not use a spread operator, what will happen is the first array will become the first element, and then 4 and 5 will be the second and third element. Whereas here the array is spreaded as first three elements. Copy array or add properties to the existing arrays. Now, yeah, the same example we have done in the case of the object. Okay, the same example, the same concept. Rest is constrainer arguments without this, right? So here, arguments, this creates an array. So in this step, what happens is if we have 1, 2, 3, right? The array is of 1, 2, 3, and one array, the filter element concept of filter. Right? Filter creates a filter operation, and then the result is again given back in the array. So the result is an array in case of rest operator. Destructuring Restructuring is easily extract all elements or object properties and store them in variables. Split takes out all elements properties and distributes them in an array or object. Restructuring allows for single or specific. For example, let's say I have an array of two hello and max, and I want to give both of them as a values, right? I want to give both of them variables. So what I'll write array a comma b is equal to hello. When I log a, I'll be getting hello. When I log b, I'll get max. Let's say I am restructuring an object. So now name I'm restructuring and age. So in this case, you see name I have restructured as given it as a variable, but for the age I haven't done that. So age I will have to find it one. Let's say I have this numbers 1 to 3 and number I keep the second one blank and num 3. So 1 and 3 is a developed num 1 and num. Next is reference and primitive types. Primitive types are those ones which when we copy them, right, it will create a copy. Like if I have num1, num2 will again be one. Whereas in case of primitive types, reference types, what happens if I have num1 is equal to one, num2 will actually create a pointer to that variable. So arrays and objects are reference types, whereas number, strings, and booleans are primitive types. In case of this object, right, person, name, max, const, second person is per person. In this case, this person is a reference of the person stored. It means if we change if we say change person dot name to Ben, the output of second person that name will also be changed. But in the same case, if we take number one equal to one and num two is equal to number, in third line, if I write num two is equal to five, sorry, let's say a number equal to 5, then num2 won't change, num2 will still be 1. Okay, so arrays and objects are reference type. Copying array object or reference type. We use spread operator. So in case of this, right, in case of this array and objects, it's a problem, right? In somewhere if we want to maintain the old values or we want the old values before copying, right, in that case it becomes an issue. So what we do there is use a spread operator. So, what spread operator rather it creates a new person. It will destructure or it will spread all the existing elements, and then a totally new object is created. Refreshing array function. So some of the array functions which need to refresh is like map, find index, paper, reduce, concatenate, size, spikes. And other functions, for example, like let's say map. How does map works? In case of map, a new array is returned by map, and for every element, something or the other is performed. Like for example, for every number in this numbers array, I'll be returning number into two. A map is a function which creates a new array first thing. Second thing, so every element some action is performed. Um, okay, so yeah, that was all.